is the Golden Sound Twice, and my friend Ellen.
That's me.
Also known as Will's Girl. So, you probably recognize Ellen from a video that was done like a year ago. And she came to visit me this weekend, so we made some videos.
Yes, which you hopefully will be seeing soon.
Let's see if I can edit it right. Hey! So, what we're here to talk about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Just put back out. Turtle power.
Turtle power! So, we're going to be talking about Leonardo, because Leonardo is her favorite turtle.
That is true. That is true. And we got some beautiful eye makeup and all makeup to celebrate the leader in blue and stuff.
I even specifically went out and bought blue lipstick for this. I did. And let's just zoom that out. All right. So, here we go. So, Ellen. Whoa,
Yes.
There goes my hair.
Hi.
You're gorgeous.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. So, what is your favorite thing about Leonardo from 2003? What do you think about his character, the way that he was portrayed? What are some good positives and negatives about how they displayed his character and his character arc overall? What are your thoughts? Go.
Okay. Well, yeah, Leonardo has been probably my favorite. I actually really love Leo and Donatello. I love the video that you did last time of Donatello. And for me, I don't know. The strange thing was Leonardo from the beginning was kind of very interesting to me, but I don't know if I really fell in love with him. And this is going to sound kind of sad, but I think the first time I really, really fell in love with him was when he went single-handedly against the Foot Clan and actually ended up getting beaten up over it. And really and had that great episode where they all went to Casey's farmhouse. And that was kind of the first time I realized how important he was to all of the other turtles and how integral and how protective, and they all had the backstories about him, and it really kind of opened me up to just kind of how important he was to all of them, which I thought was really, really important, which was really, really special. And then I started kind of noticing more and more things about him. Just kind of, I do have a soft spot for like older brother kind of boys who kind of take care of everyone and kind of put their own feelings to the side. I have a soft spot for them. I don't know, Dean Winchester from Supernatural, and there's a ton of others, but I always but I do sort of develop a soft spot for those boys overall. And for me, Leo is such an interesting character because he's this kind of dichotomy of honor and loyalty and family and just all these other great things. And to me, what was also very interesting about him was all the different sides that he showed around his family, around other warriors, around his friends, around Master Splinter, and specifically. I just love that, because that seemed to me also very realistic and natural, because you do show different sides to different people depending on who you're with. His relation, I love the fact that, he was the leader, and most of the times he led his brothers very, very well. And I thought it was very interesting because one of the things because I love Leonardo both from the 2012 and 2003 series. And I did think it was very interesting because 2003 Leonardo never seemed to have that moment of, you are the leader now, Leonardo, and stuff. It seemed like just from the beginning that he had just chosen to be in this position, which made sense to me because he was the oldest brother. A lot of times oldest siblings just kind of do that. They take charge and they protect their siblings, which I really, really... So I thought that was very interesting. And I think that what was interesting for me about Leonardo is that he was very strict with himself. He was very disciplined, and he kind of led by example for the turtles. But there were specific moments where he cracked. And one of the things, and I think that the idea, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I really do think that goes really true with Leonardo, because when he does crack, he cracks badly, like really, really badly. I think that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We gotta take turns. We don't have the table.
Yeah.
This is the best light. This is what y'all get to work with.
This is all I get to work with.
Continue.
And I think, the first time you really see that was the episode after the one that I mentioned, where Leonardo's kind of dealing with his injuries. He's dealing around Raph, and he lashes out several times, and he's very He's very stricken. I don't think it did. And then later on, the one that everyone in the turtle fandom knows about, it was season 4, right? That was that was the season.
Yes.
Where he had huge case of PTSD and was like, and it took, and the thing that was kind of amazing for me at the time was it took a lot of episodes to deal with it. It wasn't just a one and done thing, which happens a lot in kids' cartoons. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Right.
But it took him a long time, and he was reacting really badly to the point where he attacked Master Splinter.
Right.
And even before then, he was, being kind of cruel to his brothers. And unfortunately, that happens a lot of times when you're going through a really, really traumatic experience. And so I think that's what's really interesting about Leo is that he's very disciplined. But when he falls, it's not a pretty sight. It's really not a pretty picture. And I thought that was super, super interesting.
It's very true. Here, I'm going to make our lives easier in a moment. We're back. We found a table. Also, they're playing Cha-Cha Slide downstairs.
Oh, that brings back memories. All right.
Okay.
Back to the video.
Back to the video.
Okay.
Away with the plan.
Away with the plan.
Away with the plan. So yes, but back to PTSD Leo, I agree. I feel like at that moment when he attacked Splinter, out of just sheer rage and anger and everything that he's dealing with, that is when he realized that he himself had gone too far and he needed help.
Yeah.
And we had talked a little bit earlier about this today, about the comparisons between PTSD between the characters, which I will address in another video. Now, because right now we're talking about Leonardo. If you don't mind if I may.
Of course. This is your video.
It's our video. Everybody clap their hands.
Alright, we gotta keep going.
Okay,
we
yes.
don't have enough time.
We're dorks. So, anyway, one thing that I found that I really liked about Leonardo's character was that he cares so much about his family. And when I started watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a time when my family was falling apart. And so I was really able to kind of connect to that and be like, wow, this is what it's like to have somebody that really cares about you. And Leo can absolutely take it way too far at times, I feel, where he is very, very overprotective of his family.
Yeah.
But he also just really cares. And I don't know if you guys have seen, if you want to check out my other videos of where I talk about Leonardo's relationships with other siblings, where each sibling has these different dynamics, and we get to see those dynamics. And Leo he really cares. But one thing that I found very interesting that you had mentioned was Leo's different behavioral patterns with warriors. And so I was wondering if you would share with our viewers.
Of course. One of the things that I thought was always very interesting about Leonardo is why I couldn't help noticing when he was around other warriors, he seems strangely more relaxed than even around some of his family members, which really stood out to me. I think the two examples I'm going to bring was kind of a positive example of this and one a negative example of this. The positive example being Usagi, and the more kind of positive, kind of negative example being Karai, from specifically 2003 Karai. So Usagi just has a wonderful relationship with Leo. I really thought it was spectacular that even before he attacked Splinter, back when his behavior was kind of going back, there was a specific episode about it with Usagi, where Usagi kind of confronts him a little bit and your brothers have been telling me about this. I'm always here for you. And Usagi was generally really, really trying to help him, and that really showed a true friendship that they have and how much Usagi really cared about Leo. And Usagi also understood Leo's honor very well. He understood his love of martial arts and fighting.
I thought it was so cute during the Christmas episode where they give each other swords.
That was adorable.
And I kind of died a lot from the cuteness inside, where this samurai rabbit and this samurai or ninja turtle.
Yes.
On my breast.
Yes.
Where they give each other swords, and they're just like, I got you a sword, you got me a sword. Sword
I have
buddies.
to admit, even though I don't totally, there's a reason those two get shipped.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a definite
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
So every time Usagi's around, he just seems to bring out the best in Leo, and
Yes,
Leo seems
yes.
to bring out the best in him, and I
Yes.
think that's beautiful, and I love every single episode that Usagi is in, because it's a great episode with Leo, and I love the fact that Usagi, you get to really know more about him as a character. He is a very well developed in the 2003 series. We learn about his loyalty towards the young lord. We see him interacting with different warriors and stuff, and he had a great kind of back and forth with Donatello when Leonardo was injured.
Yes.
That was a great moment. So I love Usagi as a character, and I love what he brings out in Leo.
It was fun.
The other relationship, which arguably has more time developed to it, but is also arguably less positive, is Karai, Shredder's daughter, in there. Now, Karai and Leo, I think that they, strangely enough, do have this kind of competitive relationship through almost every single medium of TMNT. And they're foils to each other, no doubt about that. They're both kind of, whereas Karai's the only child and Leo's the oldest child, they both feel the pressure of being kind of the legacy of their parents. Even though it's not talked about very much, Leo kind of does feel like he is Splinter's kind of legacy. All of them they are, but especially Leo. Because he takes the martial arts more seriously than anyone else. And Karai, obviously, the Foot Clan mean everything to her. I kind of joke that Karai is exactly who Leo would be if he was born into the Foot Clan.
Yes,
almost
and I
exactly.
But I will say that where I think the difference between the two is that while Karai is able to question Shredder, and she's like, you're my father, and I love you. You adopted me when I was orphaned and left on the streets and abandoned. Orphaned or abandoned, either way, she was abandoned. But she questions him. She's like, you know what? We are about honor. That is what you taught me. And yet you also are off running and doing things that are not honorable in the slightest. What the heck, Dad? What the shell, man? What going on? Why you do? Why you do this? Whereas I think that Leonardo, if he had been in that instance, even though Leonardo is honor bound, he also is not the type to question his authority father figure.
That is true. That is completely true.
Which is why Shredder almost easily made him a part of the Foot Clan. In season 1.
That's
true.
So
I feel, the only difference I feel is that with those two dynamics is that Leonardo would not question the Shredder if he had been raised by the Shredder.
I can definitely agree with that.
Unless if, like, some sort of momentous, horrendous fate absolutely happened that made him step back and be like,
That is very true. And I think that in some ways that's kind of balanced by the fact that he does have brothers who are more willing to, I don't think any of them, like, outright question Splinter or really disrespect him. I don't even think Raph does that. But it's much more of a balancing. And to be fair, we are talking about 2003 Splinter, who, like, has never done anything wrong in his life.
2003 Splinter is the most
purest cinnamon roll that ever lived.
Purest. The only time I ever had an issue with him was when he never clearly explained, like, when we had season 5, and then you find out that, like, Splinter never really sat down and talked to the boys and been like, so also, like, my master was working with, like, these elite godlike characters.
That's true.
But to be fair, he never thought he would have to.
Yeah.
So, really, 2003 Splinter has never done anything wrong in his life. And
Exactly.
He is perfect.
And to be fair, we're talking about a person who's questioning Shredder versus a person questioning Splinter.
Yes, that's fair.
That's
fair. There's such a difference there.
Anyway, so the one thing I do want to point on, and you probably did, and you already did it in your Leo Raph video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I do think that there is a reason, even though if it is kind of a flawed reason, and I think it's overdone to a certain extent, but there is a reason why a lot of people focus on the Leo and Raph dynamic. I think there is a lot of emotion, there is a lot of purpose there, but I think what is very interesting is just the fact that they are so kind of, one thing I was talking to you about was, I never understood people who thinks that Raph wants to be the leader of the Turtles. And if someone really has a moment that truly Raph did want to be a leader of the Turtles in the 2003 series, definitely comment that below, because I really would be interested in mentioning that, because that's the thing. I don't think he ever does. I think he just hates authority.
Yeah.
Like, there are just some people who don't like authority. And he doesn't technically question Master Splinter. But Master Splinter never really, like, puts a lot of authority on them the way Leo does.
Right.
So I think that in itself is very interesting. So yeah, it's really weird, this kind of, like, this kind of connection that Leo has with other people besides his family, but I do think that he feels like he has to be the leader, he has to be the one in charge, he has to be the one in control, whereas when he's with other people, he lets that go. He doesn't feel like he has to. I mean, it's basically like a parent who is, like, obviously very, very careful when their children are around, but when they're out with their friends, like, they're relaxed, they're having a good time, they're
a little bit of wine,
having a little bit of wine,
playing with some swords.
It's a good time. It's a good time. But no, I think that's good. It's just very interesting, that different dynamic that Leo has with everyone. So is there something specific you wanted to ask me about Leo, or my opinion?
Let's see. Before we run out of time, I think you've pointed out some good, like, the good qualities of Leo.
Yeah.
We
didn't really say exactly. So I think that for me, because I mainly just talked about his PTSD, but I think that where the bad qualities of Leo kind of, and I wouldn't even say bad, because he's not a bad person, but I think that Leonardo is kind of, it is sort of the same thing, where his good qualities are also his worst qualities.
Yes.
I think that feeling of control can work for him and work against him.
Right.
It can keep a situation under control, but it can also have him be very, very tough on the turtles in ways that, is kind of unfair to them. We talk about Donatello, like, he's very, very hard on Donatello to an extent that it may kind of damage Donatello's confidence to a certain extent.
Because he's always like, Donatello is his go-to man, where he's like, we need something done, we need this sort of device, we need a plan, we need a plot, we need a way out of this, I want you to make the impossible possible. And there are definitely times when Donatello is just like, I can't do it. Yeah. And then Leo is like, no, you have to do it.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Leonardo, and I've heard this about a couple of different characters, but I think this was actually what I heard about another character, but I believe this is true about Leonardo too. Leo is so hard on people because Leo is so hard on himself. Yeah. I do not think Leo would ask someone to work harder than Leo himself would be wanting to work.
Agreed,
but the thing is, so I do think that sometimes Leo mistakes his own feelings for other people's feelings, and I think that kind of bashes, and I think that's what really comes together against Raph, who just has a different persona than Leo does,
and especially Mikey too,
who's
very lazy. Like, we love Mikey, we love him, but he is a lazy guy. He's very lazy, and so when you have Leo's hard work ethic versus Mikey's zero work ethic,
I wouldn't say zero, but it's kind of like it's not as much. It's not as much.
5.6%.
That's pretty good.
We're being generous.
Yeah, but I do think, and kind of what led to the PTSD was this feeling that he has to keep everything to himself. He can't really talk to a lot of people. And I think that he kind of does work out his issues. He's like someone who won't talk, but kind of works out through, like, boxing or through, like, action. That's how he does it, and people don't really understand that, and he can't really explain it. So I do think that all of Leo's best qualities are also a lot of Leo's worst qualities, which I really like in a character, because I do think our best qualities can also become our worst qualities if they go to excess or if they are put in the wrong direction.
So I think he was very well written for this show. And it's not that, again, when you were saying that that when he's with his family, he's a little bit more serious, but then when he's with others, he's not afraid to, like, cut loose.
Yeah, I guess I was a little bit too, because we do see him be very, very open and fun, loving with his family.
And I was going to say, though, it's like, most of the time he is like, oh, no, but other times, like, every now and then, he just cuts loose and has fun. Yeah. And those are also really fun sides to see about him. Yeah. I love it. He's a really great character, and great. There were sometimes I was very frustrated by him, but other times I had sincerely wished that I had a older brother like Leo in my life.
I think most do.
Oh, yeah. But so we're going to wrap this video up. So we'll just zoom our faces in. Hey. Hi. All right, well, anyway, so this is the Golden Sound Toys, and Will's girl, Krista, and Ellen, best friends for life. Oh, also, fun fact, randomly, a little history about this t-shirt. I know I'm wearing it twice for TMNT fan right now.
Mhm.
But this is actually the first shirt I met Ellen in. We went to college together. We were in a American and British literature class, and I proudly strut in with my shirt, and all of a sudden Ellen goes whoop and hi. She just goes whoop to her face, pops up out of her seat, and just like literally just like.
I did not do that. I walked to you like a normal person, and then I was like, "Hey, is that a TMNT shirt?" And she was like, "Yeah, that is." I was like, "You watch TMNT? Yeah, I really like TMNT." And it was the start of a beautiful friendship.
It was more of like across the room. Is that a TMNT shirt? Why, yes, it is.
I did not yell.
I love turtles, and we did like run to the middle of the classroom,
That is
and
true.
we sat, and then the two people that initially would sit there kind of came in, and they were like. I know this isn't assigned seating, but, and we were like, we will talk later.
That is true. That did happen.
And it was the start of a beautiful friendship.
It was the start of a beautiful friendship.
And you came at me very eagerly.
I did come very,
you had
very
this excited, like.
I was very excited, but.
To be fair, the moment you said turtle, you like turtles, I was like,
yeah.
My best friend is about to be made.
But seriously, so two more videos about the turtles individually will be coming out.
Yes.
So comment. Tell us what you feel about Leonardo. What was your favorite Leonardo moment, or what was your favorite Leonardo? It could be from 2003. It could be from the movie. It could be from 2012.
The many movies.
The many movies. 2012, and just talk. Just talk. Tell about the love for the blue boy.
Like, subscribe. Give the blue boy some loves. He needs it. All right, this is the Golden Sun Twice Out. Bye!